bracket in terms of like the different groups. So right now we're running 4 groups. This is Group D, and again, this is the last game of the losers bracket essentially.
Yes.
So once we do that, we'll be able to go into kind of the semifinal matches of all of the other groups up until now.
We now have team select up.
Right. Okay. So. Oh.
There we go. So, yeah, we're just waiting for these picks to come out, and looks like we've got a band of Pantheon. That's an interesting choice.
Start taking some notes on this.
Shyvana, very quick jungler, able to clear camps, get their ganks on.
Okay, and now I realize I have a completely written on notebook.
Oh, you can use this one.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. No, thank you.
Oh, yeah. So Pantheon, interesting choice.
Actually, I should probably have all this stuff completely down, but Pantheon actually is a really, really good top laner, especially in this situation. His jump on stun, a little bit of execute damage on, I believe it's Heartseeker Strike, and just
crit below a certain health rating.
Right. It makes sense, especially if they do a little bit of research on the enemy team and find out that that actually is a really, really go-to option for them.
Okay. We also have Syndra, Kindred, Soraka, and Aatrox going out. Syndra, fairly strong mid laner, able to keep quite a lot of zone with her throwing balls around at high velocity, stunning people. Getting a Jhin hover on this is sorry, which team is which again?
I believe blue team is Final Light or blue custom. It's custom? Okay.
Sorry.
So blue team is going to be custom elite.
Sorry for the confusion, folks. So blue team is custom.
Yep.
And then red team is Final Light.
All right, so they're going to run this Jhin. Jhin doesn't really have too much of an escape, or too many escape options when fights start up.
Yeah, not against a lot of people anyway. He does have those slows, so he can duel 1-to-1 or kiting, but otherwise, if he gets ganked, he doesn't have a lot for him, unless if he sets up the traps. Kind of like Caitlyn in a way.
Right. That being
Although
said,
Caitlyn does have the net, so.
true.
We also have a Jarvan coming out.
That being said, with Jhin especially, he's probably going to need a lot of people to protect him. So I'm assuming that Custom Elite is going to go with a really tanky front line, possibly a shieldy support, like Janna, Lulu, one of those two.
And immediately that is completely negated by the Jarvan pick and the Maokai pick. Jarvan being able to jump in and isolate Jhin, and Maokai being able to also jump in on him.
Right.
Nidalee, possibly, for a bit of a long-range poke, depending on where she'll be going. But we didn't get a lot of time to talk about the bans, so let's get back to that real quick.
Okay.
So yeah, once again, Syndra, strong mid laner. Soraka, want to limit the healing going out, the healing capabilities.
Like I'm seeing a lot of either picks or bans on her. Like I know some of our other casters mentioned that Echo is probably going to be one of those guys who's always either going to show up. He's going to show up in the game no matter what, whether it's a pick or it's a ban. I feel like Soraka's doing the same thing right now.
Yeah. Hover on Shen as well. So yeah, Nidalee pick goes in. Once again, don't exactly know where they're going to be taking her right now, but she has a lot of long-range poke capabilities. Shen, strong pick today. Lots of people picking Shen. He's got that global presence. He's got the taunt. So he's good at peeling. He's good at protecting his teammates. Really good kind of utility top, I guess.
Yeah.
Also banned, we have Kindred and Aatrox on the other side.
Got a Lucian pick.
A Lucian and Blitzcrank, not too surprising, I would say.
Yeah, although I I was kind of worried about the Blitzcrank picks. I say nothing more terrifying than thinking you're with your team, then all of a sudden seeing an arm come out of the abyss and pull you into who knows where.
Right. Probably would have been even better to have Blitzcrank on Jin's team, because then he can lay down those mines and then Blitz pulls them right into
Yes.
it. Just stands right on top of the mines and plops them right down on them. Like, you're standing on these. They're not traps anymore. They're bombs.
We're saying essentially that would essentially be a kill for Jin in that situation, just because you got the grab, you got the knock up, you got the mines, and then you have his root.
Right.
That right there is more than enough CC to kill 90% of the champions within the game.
Yep. But
late game.
Instead, we seem to have a Morgana support, which double roots, good.
Right.
She'll likely be proccing his passive for him,
Right.
Allowing him to really get the hard CC in lane. LeBlanc we saw earlier as well, didn't we?
Yeah. I'm going to say we're seeing some assassins come through. The tank meta is slowly, not saying it's completely gone, but it's slowly starting to wear off now, especially with this upcoming mage update that's supposed to happen.
Right.
And when it comes to mages, the easiest way to kill a mage is an assassin. So we're going to start seeing a few more assassins in our games probably from now on, especially after this tournament. But we're definitely starting to see the effects of what's about to happen right here. So right now we got Custom Elite with a really, really, really strong poke team comp. Jin, Nidalee, and Morgana combined. It's not something you necessarily want to deal with when you're trying to form up team lines, getting prepared for a team fight.
Right.
Meanwhile,
But with Blitzcrank, that's not as much of a problem.
Right.
The long-range poke is no longer as long-range as they thought it was.
Right. I'm going to say Final Light Gaming using J4, Maokai, and Blitzcrank.
And they have a bit of poke themselves, because with Lucian and Lux on the same team, they've got some range of their own.
Right.
All right.
But
so,
there's quite a bit of pick potential with Final Light Gaming going against this poke team comp. In terms of a team fight, I would expect Final Light to win, just because they have more stronger tank line, and they can probably handle a little more damage. So it's going to be up to blue team to either start snowballing early or try and pick people off as the game progresses.
All right. We just got to sit through this delay, though. But once more, back over the bands with Kindred and Aatrox. I think we could get a little bit more talking out of that one. Kindred ban going out for the safety of her ult.
That, plus, I believe that their jungler actually was a Kindred, or actually plays quite a bit of Kindred.
Okay.
I've researched a few people before coming into the tournament, and I noticed that that person in particular really likes to play Kindred in ranked. I don't know whether or not they use them in an ADC potential role, but chances are, considering they're playing this Nidalee jungle, Kindred was most likely going into jungle too.
Yeah.
So we actually have some targeted bans, just because the jungler, double Affogato, let's just call him double.
Yeah.
He also plays Shyvana.
Oh, okay.
So
2 or possibly even 3 targeted bans against him.
Right. So it's funny that we're starting to get to that point in the tournament where people are starting to recognize trends, start to look people up in OPE.gg, other methods, look on the league client, things like that. And now they're starting to find the people who are the biggest threat and trying to negate them as much as they possibly can. Like, Nidalee isn't even on isn't on Double's list as a champion that he would have normally used, at least in his top champions used recently.
Right.
So I don't know how that's going to turn out. I mean, Nidalee has her kit, really good execute, poke, things like that. But this might not necessarily be a champion this person's completely
familiar with. Yeah.
right.
All right. Well, we'll just have to see how much of a hindrance that actually is.
All right.
How much of a thorn it is in their paw.
All right.
What?
No, I'm just looking at the Shen and LeBlanc. It's like you get the initial idea of what the team comp is based off the first 3 people of each team, and then the 2 are like modifiers.
Little contingencies, maybe.
Right. Now, I don't know if they'll necessarily go into a lane swap situation just because Jhin and Morgana seems like it might be a really bad lane for Lucian and Lux, but at the same time, I'm under the impression that it could go either way.
Sure.
Lux could land her root, land her W. Lucian can come in, do a few combos of his own. All of a sudden, Lucian's ahead, and they don't have to worry about Jhin. Or Morgana lands her Q, Jhin lands his W. Everything kind of goes from there. So it's up to both teams to decide whether or not they feel they can actually win in those situations. And it could potentially go to a lane swap, I think.
Okay. I think now I notice why they might have actually picked Aatrox as a ban. Notice Godtrox.
That makes sense. I'm going to say the person who's named that most likely is kind of, running him a lot more than normal.
Right.
So, I'm saying nice to see that everyone essentially has a skin, although we don't have a Meow Kai.
That is a travesty.
But, yeah. I'm liking how this is. Oh, we got Jhin with a Deathfire Grasp, too. So he's going for a little more damage output. Normally, like, he could either go for Deathfire Grasp or Thunderlords, just because it's always kind of funny to see someone get sniped and then a bolt of lightning kills them. But I see that the Jhin is going
style points for that one.
Right. But I think he's going for more sustained damage rather than burst with that pick.
Something Jhin could probably benefit from.
Yeah.
He's already got fairly high burst on his own, so getting a little more sustain out of that could possibly, just whittle them down a bit, even more so.
Yeah. Like all of his pokes become potential moments.
I am liking the almost identical icons, however, except for Jarvan messing it up.
Let me check something real quick. Okay, Jarvan has that icon because he's most likely the team leader.
Well, now you just don't know with the other team, though.
Right. You don't know who's the most important person on their team. Also, I'm sure our viewers can probably see this too, but you'll notice that there's 3 platinums on Final Light, 2 platinums on Custom Elite. Ranking is nice, but at the same time, this is a team game. So while it might look like one team has a higher number of higher skilled players, what it comes down to is communication.
Definitely cooperation over anything.
Right. If you're not in the right place at the right time, things go poorly. As we mentioned in our conversation with MSOE Fear's Smell Fear, he brought up that essentially it came down to all of them being on the same page and knowing what needed to be done in order to progress through the game. And if you don't have someone in the lead like that, things might become really difficult for people to actually make that work out.
Of course.
So.
All right.
And so they're all fighting to get out.
Yeah. Let us out. We're trapped.
All right. So it looks like they're starting off running as a group.
Just as we saw with some of our previous games as well. They're moving as a group, not wanting to get caught out. The two bulkheads. Oh, the grab. And the first blood goes to Lucian.
Oh!
Not wanting to lose anybody else, they both back off immediately. Oh, man. Final Light with their content.